This video has already been done by like multiple people, but I don't really care. This time I'm a girl and I'm gonna do it. So maybe this one is for the girls, to be honest with you. Maybe that's what it is. Whether you know everything about Boba Fett's lore or not, forget everything that you know about the prequels lore because I don't care, and also I hate it. Boba Fett was originally called Jaster Mareel and is described as an ugly young man in his early life. This lore can be found in the Tales of the Bounty Hunters book. I have an audiobook of it on the channel if you want it, and it's free! In the Extended Universe books and the Essential Guide to Characters book, we're told that Fett is a journeyman protector or a law officer on the planet Concord Dawn. Not much is known about the planet that probably doesn't involve modern lore, which I despise, so we can't really get into that, but it's okay because we like the mystery. So Jaster ends up killing a superior law officer, and we're not explicitly told why, but we can discern that Jaster did it for moral reasons, as he said that the officer was a disgrace to the uniform, and he is sorry that he didn't kill him sooner, and the galaxy is a better place without him. He's put on trial and then exiled from Concord Dawn because he's found guilty, and he pleads unrepentant for murder. I need a tangent here. I know in the modern Legends lore it says that Fett killed him because he apparently assaulted Fett's secret wife named Sintas Vel that no one knew that he had, and he wanted revenge. Yeah, I don't count that as canon because it's not, and it was written in retrospect like years later, and it's very fanfiction-y, and I hate it. Also, he's for the fangirls. We are the only ones who can make up a wife character for him. Get out! Furthermore, there's another piece of lore that falsifies this wife claim later on, so we will get to that later on in the video. Don't worry, I will remind you. At some point in the conversation between Jaster and the pleader Ivan Creel, Jaster says that he supposes he would make a good stormtrooper when he's proposed with the idea that he may end up exiled for his actions. I like to speculate that he was a stormtrooper for some period of time because I think it would be cool, but in the Essential Guide to Characters book lore, it states that aside from being a bounty hunter, he was also a mercenary, a soldier, a personal guard, and an assassin. It also states that Fett's Mandalorian armor comes from the extinct Mandalorian race. The Mandalorians were supposedly evil warriors who were defeated during the Clone Wars by the Jedi, and no one really knows how Fett got his hands on the armor. It's a cool little mystery that I like, and I do not need a backstory to it. Thank you. Now there's some lore discrepancy here, okay, so we need to hang on a second. In the comics, which I think may have been coming out before the books, correct me if I'm wrong, it is shown that Jaster works alongside multiple people as a sort of soldier to protect the planet Mandalore. The people, who are fighting alongside him, they also wear the Mandalorian armor. Wow, we're so shocked. In the comics, it doesn't seem like the Mandalorians are an evil warrior race, especially since the character Fenchissa, a Mandalorian who fights alongside Jaster, comes off as like a noble hero character who later on, after the war is over, discovers that Mandalore was taken over by the Emperor as a slave planet, where they were setting up factories and forcing people to work, and then he wants to fight back to reclaim his planet. It says that they were sent to fight in the Clone Wars on the side of Emperor Palpatine. They eventually won the war, leaving only 3 of the soldiers surviving: Jaster, Fenchissa, and Tabi Dala. I think that's how you pronounce it, but I don't really care because it's not that important. They were mentioned in the Twin Engines of Destruction comic by Fett when he says that the imposter who's been going around and pretending to be him, named Jodo Kast, doesn't even deserve to wear the armor because he is not Dala, not Shissa, he's nobody. But after the war had been won, supposedly Jaster became tired of fighting on behalf of other people and went on to do his own thing and became a bounty hunter. This is the lore that goes on in the comics, but I'm guessing the EU books were a little different due to being worked on by different creative minds. I'm not sure how I could rationalize the two being connected due to the fact that they contradict each other on whether Mandalore was a good place or a bad place, and whether or not the entire race was defeated by the Jedi, or if a few, like Fenchissa, had survived, as well as the fact that the whole concept of how Fett acquired his armor being a mystery to everyone. It's not really a mystery if everyone knows that he was wearing it alongside like multiple other people protecting Mandalore during the Clone Wars. My original thought was that maybe working as a protector of Mandalore was the very last thing Fett did before becoming a bounty hunter, since that's when he finally got the armor. Or maybe it was something he did earlier on after leaving Concord Dawn, and he held on to the armor for a long time and saved it for the day when he finally decided to take up bounty hunting. thus making it more mysterious to the other people as to how he acquired the armor because there was such a long passage of time. But I'm not really sure that I can do that due to there still being discrepancies, and I think I just have to accept the two separate lores as kind of their own thing because, as I've stated in other videos, it's not actual real history, it's just different creative minds at work. It is that simple. We don't need to rationalize everything. It's okay. I don't find this kind of retcon-ish contradictory stuff as egregious as what they did to poor Fett in the prequels where they literally murdered him. They actually assassinated his character and stole all the cool mystery from his lore. Wanna nerf a character whose entire popularity runs on being mysterious and never showing his face? How about we show his face when he's a baby, and show him with his beloved papa? And also, go back to the original trilogy, remove Jason Wingreen's cool cowboy western-inspired voice.
As you wish. He's no good to me dead. What if he doesn't survive? He's worth a lot to me. Put Captain Solo in the cargo hold.
And give him a voice that does not sound intimidating at all, and was recorded over a phone call.
He's no good to me dead.
Great job, guys. But I don't mind either continuity. I slightly prefer the books, I think, just because there's more mystery to it, but I do still love those little comics for what they are, and they're really cool artwork. I just kind of have to ignore the little discrepancies here and there. Now it's time for some extra fun book lore. Woo! I love how Fett and Dengar are portrayed as kind of frenemies. I think it's so cute. In The Tale of Dengar, another audiobook on my channel, for free! It gets into how Fett betrays him and drugs Dengar's drink at some point and leaves him stranded to die, pretty much. Then at the very end of the book, when Fett has escaped the Sarlacc and is on the brink of death, Dengar saves him, not realizing that it's Fett because he's never seen him with his helmet off. Fett asks him in a moment of weakness if he'd like to be partners, and he repeatedly thanks Dengar for saving his life. Once Dengar discovers that it's Fett in a weakened state, he kinda chokes him out till Dengar's bride-to-be Manaru comes over and calms him down. They later agree that Fett will be the best man at their wedding. I just think it's so cute, and I wish that if they ever made a good Boba Fett spin-off show, it'd involve Fett working with other bounty hunters like Dengar and Bossk, because their dynamics are just so cute to me. In the Bounty Hunter Wars book trilogy, he works with Dengar, and it's super fun. It's on Audible, but that costs some money. Sad emoji. But it's worth it. I've listened to it like 3 or 4 times over. I tried uploading it, but it got copyright claimed, so I'm sorry, homies. Another cute little book lore fact, it mentions that Fett's original language is not Basic, which is basically just English in Star Wars speak. We don't really know what language Fett used to speak or what planet he originally came from. It's not explicitly stated. No, he is not Mandalorian for all you confused people out there. In Tales of the Bounty Hunters, there's a couple subtle lines you can catch that indicate this. It says he swore in his native language. And it also says that his tone always sounds very harsh when he speaks in Basic or something along those lines. I just think it's really neat. I like that it's a mystery and they don't reveal what language it is or what place he comes from. He's very much a strict moral code kind of character, which I think throws people off because he is a bounty hunter. But his bounties are usually involving creatures who involve themselves in like wicked dealings, and so he feels justified in giving service for cause. Obviously, his second main priority is just about getting paid, but this moral code is kind of emphasized a few times in Tales of the Bounty Hunters book. I don't know, I just think it's interesting. When Leia is thrown into Fett's room while she is being forced to be a slave girl for Jabba, she kind of freaks out and says that he better not touch her. He basically tells her to relax and points to the bedsheet, telling her to cover herself. He says that sex between unmarried people is immoral, and Leia says, yeah, so is rape. And Fett says, so is rape. I found the exchange kind of silly because the way it was written made it seem like, yes, that's what I just said. Rape would be an instance of sex outside of marriage. Why are you making this redundant statement to me? I don't know. He seems like the type to have that viewpoint, argue with the wall. But it mentions how he does still admire her for her modesty and trying to cover herself, while also admiring her beauty from looking flushed from her struggles, quote unquote. Whoa, okay, apparently we're getting freaky. It says that he's never so much as held a woman in his arms. Remember when I told you there would be a piece of lore that sort of negates the idea that Fett had a wife? Well, this is that statement, so, I mean, you're welcome. They're trying to say that he has a daughter with this woman. It's like, if he's never so much as held a woman in his life, how do they have a daughter? Excuse me? No, it doesn't make any sense. Forget about it. The woman's not real, and if she is, she's a liar. And it says that as the years progressed, the desire to be with a woman came to him less and less, but I mean, he's a guy, it will not stop him from peeking. Big eye emoji. More talks of his moral opinions. He thinks the rebellion is in the wrong because it is wrong to go against the higher powers that are trying to maintain order, and the higher powers are within their rights to kill those who try to disrupt the order. He also talks bad about spice multiple times, which is basically just a drug in Star Wars. It messes with your inhibitions and makes you all stupid. Not sure if it's closer to ecstasy or coke, I don't know, maybe both, but he says that it's illegal and it shouldn't be used. He seems kind of anti-substance use in pretty much all the EU lore, and he calls them an insult to the flesh, probably because he doesn't like things that can mess with your brain and alter your behavior, potentially causing you to make poor decisions or be caught off guard by something. My headcanon is that Fett under the mask looks kind of like a less appealing or ugly version of Clint Eastwood. I don't know why, I think it's just kind of fitting. Maybe that's because I know the reason behind why Jason Wingreen's voice sounds the way that it sounds. I don't know. Anyway, there's this one moment where he mentions a beardless young man trying to face down Jabba in his own throne room and how it was remarkably stupid, which leads me to believe that he himself is not beardless. The quote kind of indicates that the man is so young he doesn't even have a beard yet, so he must be lacking the proper maturity to be getting involved in these sorts of affairs that Fett himself gets involved in. It may be a cultural thing. I know America is really big on guys being shaven and that being like a symbol of being clean and put together, but I like to imagine that Fett's culture is more closely related to ancient culture that's heavy on honor-based things, men being more masculine by keeping their facial hair and things like that, and being kind of stoic or composed no matter the situation. I don't know, I just think it fits him. Also, I'm partial. He isn't a complete psychopath like people believe. I mean, he really does care about getting paid well and doing his job well, and he does it upon his own moral code, it seems. But at the end of the Bounty Hunter's book, he accidentally shoots a woman in some sort of standoff with Han Solo, I think. And he seems to be quite remorseful, even apologizing. And he makes a comment about how she wasn't the target. So, I mean, he doesn't just enjoy killing random people. I think he likes the hunt, don't get me wrong, but I mean, he isn't really a crazy person compared to someone like Bosk, maybe. No offense, Mr. Lizard Man, you're great and all, but you put me off a little bit. Please don't eat me. I have a little playlist of audiobooks if you guys like the little bounty hunter critters. It's all very entertaining. I don't know if I want to carry on any longer. Just go get into the lore for yourself. I cannot provide links because YouTube hates my channel and disabled all the links I've previously shared with you. So you may just have to Google the resources, but it's not so hard to find. Okay, bye!
It's Kirby. Kirby is cute and lots of fun. Take the power before the day is done. Marshmallow good, fair and just.